Healthcare, obviously, I'm sensing, and I wanted to start doing some qualitative and quantitative work to see if what I'm hearing on my fingertips is true. I feel like we're at a point we were at in the 80s and 90s where people are just furious about healthcare. Regardless of where they get their coverage, they just say premiums are too high, the deductibles too high, out of pocket's too high. These healthcare plans are worthless. They're basically they're for catastrophic, and you can see that in the reaction of the Republicans. Here's my question, Ashley, and and it's kind of a two-parter, even though I keep violating my rule. I don't like two-part questions. There's what will they do and what should they do? Some of the Republicans I'm talking to say we're going to try to get a bipartisan health care plan, and there are bipartisan talks going on bicamerally, House and Senate and across. Will they, should they propose something around State of the Union before the midterms that try to build bipartisan support, or should they just do, and will they just do a Republican-only bill that is for messaging because it's not going to get 60 votes?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is it's a tough one for Republicans. They've, I was when I was on the Hill, I think they voted 64 times to
Yeah.
repeal ACA, but never offer an alternative and get enough votes for an alternative. I mean, the reality is that healthcare is not an easy issue, and Republicans have demonstrated consistently that they can't successfully legislate, especially on things very complicated like healthcare tax cuts. Get it? That's easy. Give it to the rich. Let's move on, right? Maybe we give it in tips, that's a new thing. But for the most part, this is a tough issue. But I will say, here's what I was just on the phone with Chuck Schumer just yesterday, and I made this point to him. I said, the challenge right now is that the Republican message on Obamacare is actually crystallizing. I mean, if you go back and look at as just most recently, JD Vance, Speaker Johnson, all of them are saying the exact same thing. It's too expensive. It's not sustainable. If they said it was affordable, why isn't it affordable? I mean, all of these, their messaging is crystallizing. And we've never messaged from a defensive posture on ACA. I mean, we've never had to do that
Yeah.
before. We've always been like, oh, no one, everyone should be covered, even if they have pre-existing conditions. I mean, that is a winning message. Now we're on our back foot, our heels on ACA, and I don't know that we can message our way out of that
Yeah.
thing. The third
Yeah.
thing I would say, though, I don't know that Republicans are sincere about passing a bill before the midterms. I think they're going to weaponize the issue of health care to their advantage going into the midterm elections. They're going to keep saying it's too expensive. It's too expensive because their base doesn't hold them accountable to passing a bill or not passing a
Yeah.
bill. They
Yeah.
never have. But
Uh,
and here's the other reason why I think that's going to work is because Republicans love to hate Obama, so it's like bring him back. So I think it's going to be ACA, Obamacare, and it's going to be crime going into the
yeah.
midterms.
Ashley, here's why I love this show and why feel so privileged to be part of it. What you just said about healthcare is so much smarter and more comprehensive and so imbued with understanding of this than literally anything I've heard on cable, anything I've read. So
Thanks, Mom.
I hope everybody listened because she made about 15 points embedded in there that's just brilliant about where we are, and she did it from a partisan point of view in the sense that she's arguing her point of view, but her analysis of where the Republicans are, I thought was brilliant. Kristen, hold on because I want to ask you a question. But Ashley, I want to just ask you a follow up about what you said about Obamacare. To me, you got the wing of the party that says didn't go far enough. The Sanders wing, we want single payer, and the reason it's not working, the reason it's not just is because we need single payer like every other industrialized democracy. And then you've got people in the party who know it's not working. It doesn't have cost controls because the cost controls that were in the bill have never been enforced. I've made this point before. Gene Sperling and others in the White House, when they were passing it, said, we got to have this committee that's supposed to enforce how much things cost because end of life care is taking up so much of it. They never did it. And they told me it wouldn't work without it, and it doesn't have it. So my point is, you got the people who want single payer, then you got the people who know it needs some overhaul, but they don't want to say overhaul because it'd be offensive to President Obama. And once you say it's got flaws, you're opening the door to saying the Republicans are right, right? It got flaws.
Absolutely.
So I'm just wondering if you agree with me that it's hard for the party to have an honest discussion about it for those two reasons.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. And I don't think we're going to have an honest discussion about it, even if we decide to do something in a
Yeah.
bipartisan fashion or if we're pushing back. I mean, in this particular case, it's going to be our unity is our strength, and our unity is going to be behind protecting what's actually in place. If we can contain people like Bernie Sanders and sort of those
Yeah.
constant outliers on healthcare. But I think that, again, in my conversation with Schumer, I think he sees this as a vulnerability, yet also an opportunity. And so I think what he's going to have to do and try to do is to keep the caucus together, focused behind supporting ACA as much as they can,
Yeah.
and have
Kristen.
side debates about what should be, right. Let's
Yeah.
deal with what we have.
Yep. Kristen, I'm not a cynic. I assume the best of people, and yet it's hard to argue with Ashley's point that your party really wants to fix healthcare trying to fix it would inflame a lot of the base because fixing it's going to require some stuff that the base wouldn't like. And the policy people know that. I interviewed Tom Emmer, House Whip today, Majority Whip, and I was asking about healthcare, and I was saying, in the Hemmer household, like, what do you think about your healthcare? And he said, "Oh, it's horrible. High deductibles, high copays." He's got the Congress plan. And then I was asking him about how does he want to fix it? And he did, there's no passion in the voice of Democrat Republican leaders to say this country's in crisis. This needs to be fixed. It's all Obamacare is horrible. This is all the Democrats' fault. So, Kristen, where do you think your party is on truly wanting to fix it to help the families of America, as opposed to trying to avoid inflaming the base and trying to just score political points by blaming the Obamacare?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of what we want anymore. It's the reality in which we find ourselves. So, we've talked a lot about how I think Democrats squandered their win at all from last Tuesday with how they handled resolving the shutdown. What they did succeed in is changing the narrative to healthcare. And so historically, education used to be an area where Republicans were weak. We took that back. I think it's probably, net 50-50 on which party's better on that. Healthcare, historically, polling wise, more people have trusted Democrats than Republicans. So we're entering in on a topic that we just haven't won on or really dove into. And I hope that the party can recognize what's happening here is that healthcare is no longer. We're not in 2009, 2010 having a fight over single payer. If you like your plan, you can keep it, and talking about the website glitches. I mean, we all lived through that, and how we fought those battles. The same thing in 2017 and 2018. We as a party need to understand this is now an economic fight. I mean, this is no longer an abstract policy thing. People are, if you do a poll and you say, what's your top economic issue? Healthcare is there in the top 3, top 4. It's no longer, it's cost of living, it's energy utilities, it's housing, and it's healthcare. The people are starting to lump in, and it's the first time I've really seen this really in the last, 15 years, where it's creeping into people's everyday lives in a way where it's becoming so unsustainable that people aren't able to make their rent because they have to go and pay for prescriptions or doctor's appointments. And then particularly when you see Gen Z or millennials, I don't even know which one the right, but the sandwich generation, people who are having kids and also caring for aging parents, right? We're all kind of in that. They also take the burden of healthcare for parents and for kids, not even for themselves, but they're helping with their parents' healthcare, their kids. And so what we really need to, it doesn't matter whether we want to dive in and fix it or not. We have to come together and figure out a solution, because you can't fix something with nothing. And so I've talked to a number of members. I know that there is a large appetite to come to the table to offer a positive solution. It's just, what is that, right? And because the problem is Obamacare hasn't worked in the way we thought it would. And I think some of these premiums are, the fight over that, there is validity to saying it's not working how it should. How can we fix it? But it is also hard to take something away when someone has it. So unless we have a
Yeah,
better
that's
option
key.
for it, we really, I hope that the party can come together and really think through, what kind of path we can offer, and recognize this for the issue that it is, not just a 2010 argument that Obamacare is bad, even though it does have issues and we should address that. We should also say, so here's a solution to. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not a policy person. I'm a political person. There are smarter people who will figure that out. But we can't just resurrect ideas from the last decade. We really have to look forward and try to meet the moment. And there are some members that are doing it. And whether it's, extend the tax credits for a few months to make sure people are getting care while we figure that out, that's something we have to think through. But this isn't just a base, issue anymore. If we're going to win in these districts and in these states that are essentially, light red or purple, then we really need to think the way change the way we think about the issue.
Cozy Earth products, they're having a crazy sale now, 40% off Cozy Earth, the bubble cuddle blanket, the sheets, the towels. I've had my towels now for over a week, and they're a revelation and a revolution, both. And of course, the bubble cuddle blanket, luxury, combination of comfort and style. Right now, you can get 40% off everything on the site. Black Friday, come early. This won't last, so go to cozyearth.com. Use the promo code two-way for 40% off. Wrap the ones you love in luxury with Cozy Earth. And always have to plug the pants, because every time I put the pants on, I'm reminded they're really the only pair of pants I'd like to wear. So please do yourself a favor. Go to cozyearth.com. Promo code two-way for an extraordinary 40% off. The sale will not last forever. Cozyearth.com, promo code two-way. They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America. And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and two-way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.